What's up, everybody? Welcome into Hockey Sense. Great to have you with us. We are live from Buffalo, site of the NHL entry draft today. The Blues are holding 4 first-round picks. We'll see what they do. And you know what? I got to be honest with you. And as always, Hockey Sense, brought to you by First Community. I just wasn't sure what I wanted to do today. I mean, you're doing this show. Something could happen at any moment. So if breaking news happens after this comes out or when this comes out and we don't talk about it, I apologize in advance. Um, that's why we're not really going to get too much into the draft today because this comes out on the Friday. And of course, the draft is tonight. And again, we'll see what the Blues end up doing. They want to move a pick or two in an effort to improve their team. It's just um, sometimes that's the best option. That's the way to go. It's difficult to get guys who have no trade clauses and no move clauses to agree to go to certain locations. There's a handful of spots that everyone seems like they want to go to, and I don't really blame them. The latest is Jason Robertson. Reports are that he turned down $15 million per year. Now that's a lot of cheddar, but if you're in his position, you know you're going to get paid regardless, no matter where you go. And these guys want to be able to have a say as to where they land. Brady Tkachuk was the same situation. I know Vegas probably came in second. I know there's talks about Minnesota offering up for 4 first-round picks, which they did. But I think Vegas was the other team that Brady was truly considering. If things weren't going to work out in Florida, I think he would be a Vegas Golden Knight, assuming they could pull off the deal. Florida's in a tough spot right now because now they need a goalie. They don't have really any pieces that they are willing to move or that they even have asset-wise that would allow them to go in there and get a goaltender. But my guess is Sergei Bobrovsky stays. I mean, this guy could go down as one of the greatest goaltenders really ever if they win another cup. He could be on the Mount Rushmore of goaltenders if they win another cup or two. He would have that type of resume. I mean, obvious Hall of Famer. You look at the hardware that he's won, not only as a team with the cups in Florida, but the individual awards with the Vezina trophies and whatnot. So that's an interesting one. I know these guys. Listen, they want the long-term contracts. They're putting the management in a tough spot. He's coming off of a significant contract that was paying him $10 million per year. So we'll see what happens with Bobrovsky. My feeling is he ends up back in Florida. Why would you want to leave there? They've got one of the best teams in the league. You're in Florida. That makes zero sense to me why he'd want to leave. Jamal Mayers is going to join us on this show. Also, Robert Thomas, man. Look forward to catching up with Robbie. Haven't been able to this summer, at least here on the show, and have him on and kind of get his thoughts on a lot of the stuff that's going on right now around the National Hockey League and certainly the St. Louis Blues. So we'll talk to Robbie coming up on this show as well as we continue to broadcast from Buffalo, New York, man. My whole family's from Buffalo. I grew up coming here as a young kid. Always came here for vacations and whatnot. I don't know if you want to call that a vacation, but I used to come to Buffalo when I was young, go see my grandparents, see cousins. My parents grew up here in Buffalo, so Buffalo's always had a special spot in my heart, man. Love coming back here, even though it's just not the most attractive downtown that we've ever seen. Um, but Buffalo's Buffalo. I can see why certain players, man, all these guys now, especially the American players, they get around one another. They get that taste of winning for those who hadn't won yet. And, you get a couple of them that are stuck in markets that aren't the most exciting, whether it's Winnipeg with Hellebuck or maybe Detroit with Dylan Larkin, and they're not winning. Although Hellebuck's obviously, he's on a better team. They've had some good teams, really good teams in the past. They won the President's Trophy a couple of years ago. This guy's got like 3 Vezina trophies, now a gold medal. But, they all want that Stanley Cup, and they're all chasing it. And I can't really blame them for that, especially when you see Brady leave Ottawa and just land in Florida. It's just amazing how some of that stuff happens. I got to give a shout out to Keith Kachuk, man. You know, if I were to put a Mount Rushmore of the players who I've gotten to know, I mean, I could talk about players who I've covered here covering the St. Louis Blues. I think next year is going to be my 28th or 29th season, something like that, which is just hard to believe in and of itself. You know, you cover guys like Alexander Steen from day one when he comes to the Blues, and now he's going to become the general manager of the team. It's always interesting to watch players' lives evolve and get to know people on a personal level. And if I were to put a Mount Rushmore up of players who I've gotten to know, who I've become friends with, who you've gotten to know their families, Keith Kachuk would be front and center, man. Um, Jamal Mayers, another guy who's coming on this show or who's joins us every week. He's another one. There's been so many. I mean, just a ton of guys, but none bigger than Big Walt because I saw what he did from a youth hockey standpoint and how involved he was with youth hockey with Matthew and Brady coming up and playing here in St. Louis with the AAA Blues, and just how much he helped other people in that environment, in that climate, and just what a good person he is, and how generous he is. And it's been passed down to his kids too, man. I've known Matthew and Brady since they were super young, and to see this success that they're having is just special, man. We're in a special era right now of NHL hockey, and a big shout out to Keith Kachuk, man. He deserves it. I know it took some time. I guess it doesn't really matter how long it takes. He's still so relevant and such a big personality with his kids doing what they're doing right now in the NHL. It's not like he's gone away. You haven't heard from him. He's got an important role with the St. Louis Blues on the amateur side. This guy works as hard as any Hall of Famer. I will say that there's a lot of Hall of Famers who put in work, and there's a lot of former players who were really good, who had great careers, who made a lot of money, who put the work in, but nobody really works harder than Keith Kachuk, man. It's just a great example for everybody that's around him, just how he puts the work in. So that one was a little emotional, I'm not going to lie. Excuse me. When that news came down because he means so much to so many people around St. Louis, and to see him go in and finally get that level of recognition was long overdue and great to see, and I'm sure we'll celebrate it throughout the course of the season. And looking forward to that day in November in Toronto, where Keith Kachuk is elected into the Hockey Hall of Fame. So people are asking, what are the Blues going to do? I know. Listen, when you hear big time names who are potentially or rumored to be available or who are available, when you have four first round picks and the Blues are looking to do what they're looking to do, and they're going to call on everybody, Jason Robertson included. I mean, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you call on Dylan Larkin? Why wouldn't you call on Matthew Nyes? Although I was told today that Nyes is likely to stay in Toronto and that they aren't going to move him. And there really hasn't been any talks that had Matthew Nyes close to being traded from Toronto. Um, so I don't expect Nyes to leave, but I'm sure St. Louis called on him. I mean, listen, they're going to call on everybody. They called on Brady Kachuk, and I know uh, some people took it personal and said, oh, how could he not have St. Louis on his list? Listen, I said it over and over. He's not coming to St. Louis. And it's not about his feeling of St. Louis. It's just the reality of the situation. When you have that type of option and your brother's playing in Florida and you can pretty much go anywhere you want. You can call your shots. I mean, and you're from St. Louis. Your dad played here. He wants to create his own legacy. And I just think it's a lot of distraction for guys that go and play in their hometown. Some people love it. Some people enjoy it. Maybe it is what you want to make of it. But I just wouldn't hold that personal or hold that against Brady Kachuk. I can really understand. I really can. So we'll get into a lot of different things with Jamal and then Robert Thomas here on this edition of Hockey Sense, brought to you by First Community. And we'll see what happens with the Blues. I mean, there's so many options that are in play. It's not like they want to move all of their picks. I know you're seeing some people saying, well, they want to move 11, 15, and 16. I mean, listen, if you're moving 11, 15, and 16, you better be getting an elite player, one of the top players in the league. Um, Dylan Larkin, for example, it sounds like he's going to end up in Minnesota. I think that's the prevailing thought among those who are close to him, that ultimately that's where he's going to land. But we'll see what happens with Robertson. I just feel like he wants to stay in Dallas. Whether or not that happens or not remains to be seen. If he's turning down $15 million, does that automatically mean that he would demand $15 million per, if not more, from Dallas to stay there? I don't know. The guy's had like 3 40-goal seasons, including last year where he had 45. Still amazing to me that he didn't even make the U.S. Olympic team. He's not a perfect player by any means. But I do like Robertson, man. Anybody who can put the puck in the net. All right, I got to talk about Jordan Kyrou, man. A lot of you are probably like, oh, yeah, it's about time. Yeah, and now what happens? You move Kyrou, so now you're looking to replace Kyrou, and you're looking to add scoring. The Blues need scoring, and they don't have enough of it right now, in my opinion. They need goal scoring, and bringing Connor McMichael back, plus getting the 16th overall pick and getting a prospect who is highly thought of in Gestrine, um, is a great return for Kyrou. Listen, this was bound to happen. You knew at some point this guy was going to get moved this offseason. Some people thought it would happen last year or last offseason. There are certain people that I feel like maybe ran him out of town a little bit. I always felt like Kyrou was a little bit disrespected for how well he played. He's a different personality. He's not going to be chumming it up with a lot of media. You're not going to see him out and about doing podcasts and interviews. He kind of keeps to himself. He's quiet, but he really is a professional, man. He goes about his business the right way. He comes to the rink. He's ready to go. He's a rink rat. He loves to be around the rink. He loves talking hockey. And, I got to know Jordan very well during his time here. And I wish him nothing but the best, man. I hope he has a great run in Washington. They've got Alex Tuck there now. Ovi's probably going to come back. They've got a pretty strong top nine, and I think he'll fit in well there. I didn't think it was the best place for him to go, but ultimately it's where he wanted to go. I think he had other options, and with the no trade clause, he was able to steer himself there. But this guy liked it in St. Louis more than people realize. Like, he didn't want to leave. But people are always saying, hey, listen, get rid of trade Kyrou, trade Kyrou. Well, you better get some scoring in return, man, because this guy was a threat offensively that now there's a hole. But, going back to last year, his role declined a little bit. You look at his ice time in comparison to other forwards on the team. I think he was like fourth or fifth on the team in ice time among forwards. He wasn't on the number one power play unit. You've got an excess of wingers who are coming in, although the Blues have traded now a couple of them. You lose Kyrou, you lose Bolduc. I know Carbonneau is going to come in. How soon remains to be seen. We talked about how young this defense is going to be next year. I think a guy like Carbonneau probably needs some time. I'm not even saying a full season, but just get him acclimated to the pro game. I think people are going to expect him to get to the NHL and just light it up right away. I don't know how realistic that is. But all the best to Jordan Kyrou, man. But this was the best thing for him. It was best for the Blues. It was best for him. And I like Connor McMichael a lot. We'll get him on. He's a versatile player. He can kill penalties. The big question is, I said this earlier in the week, did he career it 2 years ago with 26 goals? Can that be the expectation? Or his goal total and his offensive output from a year ago, is that the reality of what we should expect from Connor McMichael? But again, good player. Like, you've got some, you're bringing a good hockey player back, a guy who, has been around a good environment. He's been there for the OV chase. He had real quality veterans to learn from, guys like Tom Wilson and company over there with Washington. He had a good coach in Spencer Carberry. So I like the addition of Connor McMichael. I just don't see the Blues being done, though. And their best option to make something happen is obviously through a trade. Who knows? Maybe an offer sheet. I keep saying this about Anaheim. I mean, the fact that they're leaving Leo Carlson and Cutter Gauthier vulnerable to a potential offer sheet is just very interesting to me. Same with Connor Bedard in Chicago. Chicago moves the fourth overall pick. We'll get into it with Jamal. I think Bedard really is putting the heat and the pressure on the Blackhawks organization. I think his agency, Newport Sports, also putting the heat on the Blackhawks. Hey, you better get Connor some players to play with. You want him to sign here long term. You want him to be here long term. Let's get some players, some pieces here. So I think Kyle Davidson in Chicago got the memo. I just felt like Bowen Byram, as good as he is, I do like him. Is he a elite number one? Probably not. Does he view himself as one? Probably so. Wants to run a power play. I can't blame him for all of that. He's a good player, great skater, really good player. But with that being said, I just feel like an experienced general manager would have found a way to get him without giving up the fourth overall pick. Did it really require you to give up the fourth overall pick? Do you value certain players in your organization right now more so than you do with the fourth overall pick? And it sounds like Vancouver's not going to take Manny Malhotra. From what I understand and from what I've been told, is that was kind of agreed upon when Malhotra took the head coaching job with Vancouver. Like, don't draft my son. Don't put me in that spot. Don't put my kid in that position. Too much pressure. So if they're going to take the Chase Reed kid, and if Buffalo now ends up taking Malhotra, assuming they keep the fourth overall pick, I feel like Jarmo Kekalainen, who it was a great play on his part to make this move. You get the fourth overall pick. I'm sure he's thinking, hey, I can probably flip this fourth overall pick and really add something else, and we'll see what they end up doing. If they do anything at all, maybe they make the selection. But if Malhotra ends up being a really good player for a long time, I'll be interested to see how we revisit this trade 5 years from now and 6, 7, 8 years from now, 3 years from now. Like, some of these teams just get so impatient. If you make the decision to rebuild and you have a top 5 pick, I don't know where they're at right now. They haven't made the playoffs. They've made very limited progress, in my opinion. They've got some good pieces, but limited progress. Certainly not to the level of progress that you would say, okay, it's okay. We're in a good spot. We can move our fourth overall pick now. Although they bring in an established NHL defenseman who's good. So, but they also moved a really that big kid on the back end who's stood out last year down the stretch. He's a good player. They moved the 45th overall pick too. So, woo, Chicago. What are we doing in Chicago? We'll talk to Jamal Mayers about that. Also, Robert Thomas coming up on this edition of Hockey Sense, brought to you by First Community. You know they're hiring. You're looking for a job? Join the team at First Community, hiring for everything from entry level to management positions. First Community is an equal opportunity employer with great benefits, including 11 paid holidays. How nice is that? Paid vacations, 401k, you got a pension plan, employee health and dental insurance, and that's provided at no cost to the employee, by the way. So learn more at firstcommunity.com about upcoming job fairs and get started on your next career with First Community. Dirt Cheap Fun Fun, your one-stop party shop. Download that app today. Have it delivered if you live within 10 miles of a Dirt Cheap location. Ask about the best selection of beer, wine, and booze anywhere over there with Dirt Cheap Fun Fun, your one-stop party shop, baby. Download that app today. The Wallace family is flat out getting it done. They've got that incredible walk-in beer cooler. Don't sleep on the party supplies and all the paper supplies that they have, paper goods. And they got everything you need. So if you've got any summer backyard barbecues, 4th of July parties, get everything you need at Dirt Cheap Fun Fun, your one-stop party shop, baby. And do it today with Dirt Cheap. Yes, sir. Blue Note Roofing. 314-920-5713 for Blue Note Roofing. David Novak just flat out getting it done. I know he's pumped up about the draft. He's going to be down at Enterprise Center for the draft party. This guy will talk hockey with you. He'll talk roofing with you, gutters, soffit, siding, roofing, whatever it is you need. Blue Note Roofing, 314-920-5713. Call David Novak today. Speaking of the draft, I ran into Otto Stenberg today. We had a great conversation. Really good guy. And best of luck to the Stenberg family. Ivar is going to get drafted today, most likely second overall to San Jose. If you're San Jose, why are you going to pass up on the second overall pick and bring a player like Stenberg into the organization? So you got Gavin McKenna going first overall to Toronto and then Stenberg going second overall. I think that's how most people had it over the course of the last several weeks. So Blue No Roofing, 314-920-5713. Lordo's Diamonds, get that special someone, something special in your life over at Lordo's Diamonds, lordosdiamonds.com. Say hi to Mike and Jimmy Lordo. He'll talk pucks with you too. They love the Blues. They love the Cardinals. They love talking sports. Best selection of engagement rings you'll find anywhere is right there at Lordo's Diamonds. Again, lordosdiamonds.com. That's the website. Right next to Truffles in the heart of Ladue. 314-432-8008. Stop on in, call them, make an appointment, and say hi to Mike and Jimmy. And they've got great men's jewelry too. Great selection of watches, chains, all of that. If you're looking for some of that too, you can find it at Lordo's Diamonds. Right there in the heart of Ladue. Been around for 70 years over there at Lordo's Diamonds. And Mako in Kirkwood. Better get Mako. Locally owned and operated since 1982 when the Cardinals won the World Series. Their staff has more than 100 years of combined experience in the collision repair and auto painting industry, more than 75 years of experience combined at the Kirkwood Mako location. Listen, they're a retail shop, but they specialize and prioritize quality service and value. So their goal is all about complete customer satisfaction. I had my wife's car go there the other day. If you got a wife or a teenager who's bumping into everything, paint damage, dents, they'll take care of it for you. Cosmetic collision repair and auto painting is what they specialize in. So listen, I know they're fully capable of repairing any collision, but they focus on drivable hits. So if you can drive your car in, they'll be able to fix it. And this allows them to turn cars over. People don't have to wait several days to get the car into the shop. In and out, in and out, in and out. So they turn their repairs around very, very quickly. They have good working relationships with all the insurance providers, fleet management companies, and they also offer up that best price guarantee, baby, and nationwide warranty on all Class A insurance repairs. Good as long as you own the vehicle. 5 miles pickup and delivery available by any appointment. So check out Mako. Also, Travel House, HAUS. Book that vacation with Travel House. Just went to the Dominican Republic, and they're unbelievable how they set everything up for us. They've got last-minute summer and fall deals available right now. Plus 2027 nonstop airline schedules are available to book. Travelhouse.com, HAUS, Travel House. All right, we've got Jamal Mayers coming up next. Robbie Thomas also coming up on this edition of Hockey Sense, brought to you by First Community. We'll talk it over with Jammer. He joins me next. We're in Buffalo, the site of the NHL draft. Round 1 is tonight. Thanks for stopping by and joining us for our Friday tradition here on Hockey Sense, brought to you by First Community. All right, Jammer's in the house without me. That's the dedication we get from Jamal Mayers, who is brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers, and of course spas and more. We'll get into that here coming up. But Jammer, thanks for doing this. As always, walk us through your draft day. What do you remember about being drafted? What were you doing when you found out?
I was actually in Quebec City. They were still in the league. That's how old I am. 93, couple of buddies drove up with me with my family. I actually ended up, my brother at the time was studying to be an ambulance driver, and there was a kid who was having an issue in the stands, like a couple rows from me, eating some pizza.
Oh.
And wasn't breathing. So I had to go perform the Heimlich maneuver on this kid. And this is like in the first round. And as you know, the draft used to be 12 rounds long, and the whole draft was on one day. I literally performed Heimlich maneuver and saved this kid's life.
Damn, was he a kid getting
No,
drafted?
it was like an 8 or 9 year old kid, and it was with his grandparents. And my brother was walking around the concourse. He's the one who should have been saving the life, not me. But he had practiced on me, so I knew how to do it. And I gave the kid the Heimlich. I got nervous that I was going to break the kid's ribs, and the grandma said, "I don't care." And I did it one last time, and a huge piece of cheese came popping out, and the kid
Oh my
started
God.
coughing and everything else. The funny part of the story was this: when I finally got drafted 2 hours later, my whole section who had seen what I had done was cheering for me. But now I'm drenched through my suit because can you imagine how nerve-wracking the day would have been? Then you add in the fact that, that happened. I was a sweaty mess and end up getting drafted. I'm sure the Blues are probably like, "What is wrong with this guy? This guy's got a sweating problem."
Did you go in the third round or fourth round?
4th round, 89th overall, but back then I think there was only 26 teams, but yeah,
Yeah. Our 2018s, whatever it was
I
at
think
the
it's
time.
26.
26? Yeah, so that'll get you in the third round in today's NHL for sure. 89th pick, man, ended up being a great pick. I mean, you played 10 years here in St. Louis and over 900 games in your career. I hate saying that you played 900 games because I feel like it's disrespectful. Because how many lockouts did you
2, or
endure?
maybe 2.5. Missed a whole season, obviously in '04. Um, it always still bothers me when they try to call it the work stoppage. It wasn't a work stoppage. It was a lockout. We were locked out. So let's make that clear, for the final time. And then half a year as well. So maybe 2 half seasons.
Yeah, you had the ACL injury
Yeah, and then
too.
that too. So, eh, no complaints over here, but yeah, you're right. Missing a year didn't help and getting hurt. Those things happen, but, the 2 work stoppages, lockouts were tough to endure.
I know. Mike Sillinger used to always remind me. I used to tell him how many games he had, and he'd be like, two lockouts, buddy. Two lockouts, bud.
That's awesome.
So, anyway, what are your thoughts on Chicago trading the fourth overall pick?
Oh, it's a interesting move for them, but I think they had to I like the move, especially if you're trying to convince, Bedard and others that it's a destination. They have to start making real, like, hockey moves, and they've for the last 2 or 3 years, they've been stockpiling those draft picks and the draft
Mhm.
equity, and at some point, you have to parlay that into players that are ready today. So, they need someone to quarterback the power play. I think that, um, I forget the name of the Russian defenseman that they took, was it 2nd overall a few years ago? Yeah,
Lashunov from Michigan
I think that
State.
was a massive mistake. To me, you pick a defenseman in that position, he's gotta be able to be your quarterback, your every situational type of guy, and I don't think he has that offensive upside. I don't quite puzzled by that pick, and I think this kinda covers some of that mistake.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I just think like I just hope for their sake that whoever's taking fourth overall, and it's probably going to be Manny Malholtra's son. Um, if he goes on to have a great career and becomes a star player, I mean, we'll revisit this 3 years down the road. I just feel like some general managers, Jamal, are so creative and so skilled and so experienced, they can make that type of move to bring on that quality of an NHL player when you have all these other assets without moving the fourth overall pick. It's just, you know, you have a top five pick. Those are tough to give up. You don't see it happen very often, ever, really. And then now we do in Chicago. So we'll see how it plays out. What do you think of Byram? I know he envisions himself as a number one. Is that the type of is do you like that move for the fourth overall pick to bring that specific player there?
Well, I'll be honest with you, you see a player like that, and you wonder if he's that good, why is he now on his 3rd team? And
Yeah,
I get why it didn't work out in Colorado because
had
we've got
McCarr
Makar
there.
there.
Yeah,
But the fact I forget who the other right-handed defenseman that kind of replaced similar to Makar that's there now. They had made the determination that he is better than who they had, and they made a move. But now you go to Buffalo and you think, okay, now there's going to be a real opportunity for him to show who he is. You know, even though they have other really good defensemen, and it doesn't work out for a second time. So, the question and the spotlight will now be squarely on Byram to be that guy, and I think he's running out of I think once you make 2 moves, I believe he's younger than 25, um, the questions will start being asked if this doesn't fit, this doesn't work, that it's no longer opportunity or situation. The light will be shining squarely on him.
Yeah, and I think you hit the nail on the head because you're 100% right. I think there is significant pressure from Connor Bedard and his agency. Like, hey, listen, if we're going to sign here and we're going to be here, we got to start getting some players in here to help this kid. So, there's no doubt about that one. What about Cairo going to Washington in the package the Blues got in return from the Capitals? You get the 16th overall pick, so now the Blues are sitting there with 4 first rounders, which is so uncommon in NHL history. It's only happened a handful of times for a team to have four. San Jose has three this year. Um, they get Connor McMichael, who I like, who brings some versatility. Had a really good offensive year 2 years ago, and you get a prospect. So, what do you think of that dude?
Yeah, I think that a lot of it came out that was actually, you don't hear this very often, but I believe it was Kairu's agent who discussed that honestly the evolution of Snuggerud kind of pushed out what was the opportunity for Kairu, and that happens. And it's not, I think we can't. I think what we should do first is appreciate what Kairu was able to do. A lot of times
Mhm.
we talk negatively about a player, but this is a guy, I believe it's been 30 years, um, that a player had the consecutive 30-goal seasons, 3 of them, I believe, as a Blue, and there's only 2 others that have done that. Um, he was a really good player for a long time for the St. Louis Blues, and I think that that's what we should remember as Blues fans is that how good he really was and versus, like, looking at the negative of what he didn't show up here or didn't do this or his practice, all that stuff. Like, this guy scored goals, and he scored them at a
Mhm.
really unbelievable, rate, only matched by, I believe, Tarasenko and one other, player. It might be Brett Hall, but it might be you know
Might be
so
right.
there's not very many who have scored at the clip that he had scored on. So I think that we need to
Yeah.
appreciate how good he was, and I think sometimes it's just time. It's time for a change. I think that you could argue that that time may have been a year and a half ago for change for him. I'm excited to see what he's going to do in a new place with a new opportunity, with a team that is making moves in Washington to make a push to replace perhaps Ovechkin's goals. With two different guys and Kyrou being one of them, and it's exciting to see what they're going to do. But on the blue side, they're getting a really good player in McMichael. I think that he has the
Yeah.
versatility. He can play up and down your lineup. He can play both center and the wing. He can play with pace, which is I think they need and continue to need to add to their group, both in the top nine and in the bottom six. I think that's something that they've been working on for several years, in the last couple of years anyway. And I think he's going to help their level and kind of fit the way Monty wants to play. So I think it's interesting when they do make moves like this. I think you can see,
Mhm.
I see Monty's handprints on this as well, thinking like, I like this kind of player. This guy can help us play the way we want to play. And I think it's really smart when organizations bring in their coach in those conversations. I'm not saying they all don't do it. I'd say some of them, most of them probably do. But when you see a move like that, to me, it tells you that Monty had some say in it and some influence rather. And it's kind of cool to see how that'll work out.
Yeah. And I think that's well said. And listen, this guy, I know people were critical and some, but no one ever criticized his ability to show up to the rink and be ready because he practiced hard, man. And he came to the rink. He's a rink rat. He loves shooting after practice. He's always staying on the ice after practice. I think that was passed down from Ryan O'Reilly and he and Shen and Holloway. I mean, they stayed on the ice forever, Jammer, after practice. Like he loves the game. And listen, there aren't many guys that are a perfect player. He was a second round pick, not a top 10 pick. And if you redid that draft, he would certainly go high in the first round if you had to redo it. And talking to Army, like he made it clear that, listen, what the rest of the league thinks of Jordan Kyra, there was a lot of interest in him. And, he had the ability to decide where he wanted to go, which wasn't easy for him. I think leaving St. Louis is going to be harder than a lot of people realize. He really, really liked it here. But a lot of people wanted him gone, and now what are the Blues trying to do now, Jamal? They're trying to replace that. They're trying to add scoring,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So now you need to find a goal scorer who can replace his 30 goals, even though he didn't score 30 last year. But it's not easy to find those
No,
guys,
they don't grow on trees, and I think that, when you find them, you wanna keep them, and I think there was just time. I mean, he had 18 goals, this past season, which was a down season, obviously, for him and at the clip that he was traditionally scoring at, and I think that Washington hopes that they get the player from a few years ago, and you know, the reality is the Blues get a nice pick out of it and a real serviceable player.
Yeah, and that can happen when he wasn't on the number one power play, right? I
Yeah.
mean, to and I think his ice time, I think he was like fourth or fifth. Like a lot of games, he was fourth, fifth, sixth in ice time among forwards. Like his ice time had gone down a little bit, but you look at the analytic numbers. I think people appreciate his game when you really dive into who he is. Like he has really improved his game defensively. He's got the puck all the time. His possession numbers are good. I think he led the team in broken up or intercepted passes in the defensive zone. Little stats like that that I think do tell a little bit of what he's capable of doing. I just hope he has success out there in Washington, and I know you do too. What about Jason Robertson turning down $15 million a year to Seattle? What does that say about players just being able to I mean, listen, now he's a guy who's going to be able to get paid no matter where he goes, and he knows that. So it's a little easier to probably say no to Seattle. But what does it tell you about where Seattle is at right now, and how do you look at Jason Robertson, who's scored 40 goals 3 different times?
Wow. I feel like Seattle's just been sputtering for since they came into the league, and they don't have they were hoping Matty Beniers would be that guy. I don't think he is.
Shane
They're
Wright.
hoping Shane Wright obviously would be. He certainly isn't with 12 goals this past season. They don't have a bona fide superstar, and they were overpaying, and it still didn't work, which is really difficult um, for their organization and what they're trying to accomplish. So it also says that players have more say. They're going to dictate. He is now going to get 15. There is going to be 3 or 4 more teams that are going to give him that. He'll have a lot more say in where he's going. And I think with the cap going up, I think the players in general are taking more ownership and control. That teams are able to take on more money. But teams in reality, and we talked about this throughout the season, Strick, is that teams are going to be able to have two $15 to $17 million players and
Mhm.
3 to 4 $10 million players. That's how much the cap is going up. So that's the reality of where we are. And it seems like a crazy number, but that's the way the landscape is going. I think it's going to be common knowledge, common practice, common talk in the next, 3 years that there's going to be several players making over 15.
Mm. Brady Kachuk going from Ottawa to Florida. Some criticism because of what he said publicly that he doesn't know where these rumors are coming from and he wants to stay. That's why I'm always hesitant to ask players those type of questions on the spot. I don't know what you expect them to say. Could you imagine if he would have come out and said, "No, I don't want to be here. I'm gonna," it's like, what do you really want him to say? So it just puts everybody in an awkward spot. You just got to have that relationship with players and try to find out on your own and then present what that information is versus expecting that the answer that he gives publicly to be the truth and then try to hold that player to what he said. I'm just curious how you read into that and what do you think about him being able to steer his way to Florida and join his brother?
This is what I'll say about it. And I think that people need to respect Brady and his choices that he made. The fact that he spent, what, 8 years in Ottawa?
Hmm.
8 years is not a short amount of time. He gave the Ottawa Senators everything that he had for those 8
Everything.
years. And it's not like after 3 years, can I say that he's an American? He never wanted to play in Ottawa. Okay? It's not something that's on the list for Americans who are top players. That's not their first choice. Let's get that out of the way. And that's okay. That's okay. But Brady endorsed it. He supported it. He was okay with it. And to me, some of that has to be on Ottawa when they take an American who is American through and through, and you know his family and you see what's going on. that was their decision. They were hopeful they could keep him longer, but he gave 8 years. 8 years, and I believe he made the playoffs 1 or 2 times. And so this guy plays with his emotions on his sleeve, led by example. Um, I don't fault him. What
Mhm.
person wouldn't want to go play with their brother in the prime of their career, an opportunity to win? Um, so I think couple things. That's my thought on the Brady side. I thought also that Stevie Stais did a really good job of getting back a lot in return. Obviously, you'd love to have a player, an actual NHL player, but he got some really good picks, and you cannot evaluate this trade on the Ottawa side, in my opinion, for another 3 to 5 years because
Yeah, but you can look at it like, and you know the player. And this is how good GMs operate. Before he makes the deal with Florida, he makes sure that he has this deal in place with San Jose. Hey, we're going to get the ninth overall pick, and then you work that trade out, right? You get William Eklund, who's coming to Ottawa. That's part of the domino effect. So you can almost look at it like you got William Eklund as part of the deal, even though it was a draft pick coming from Florida. But they knew that that draft pick they were getting, what they were going to do with it, and they were going to be able to flip it and get a good player. I like this William
yeah, he's
Eklund. You watched him play a lot
yeah, I
last
did.
year.
He's a really serviceable player, unbelievably strong along the boards. Not a big guy stature-wise, but probably disappointed the Sharks were in his production scoring goals, but he does have the ability to create a ton of offense. I think he's not Brady. He's never going to be Brady, but he is I would say 55 to 65 point guy and, a second line winger on a good team. And so I think that Stevie Stais did a great job and understanding and like you're saying, working this deal over here, understanding what he was going to do with San Jose on the other side of it to use that pick to get Eklund and Eklund does not replace obviously Brady, but they're still the Ottawa Senators are still a really good team that I expect will make the playoffs.
Mm. Yeah, no, those are tough situations for a general manager to be in, knowing that your star player is asking for a trade, which we're seeing all over the place, Jamal. Like, what are you reading? I mean, Dylan Larkin, I keep saying he's going to end up in Minnesota. That's what people are telling me. You hear about Connor Hellebuck potentially wanting out. Like, what do you make out of this? All these Americans too.
I mean, what were they talking about during the Olympics? No, I think players are smarter and understand their leverage and where they what they can how they can affect change. And the reality is that there's a couple things happening at the same time. Players recognize that with the cap going up, there is a real opportunity to move on from their current situation. If they don't take advantage of this in the next 2 years, then they're going to be where they are for the rest of their careers. So those
Oh,
seats,
really?
I think,
Okay.
are moving with the cap
Mm,
going up, and I think the smart agents have let their clients, their players know that the window to do this is now, because once those seats are filled and the money is moved, because it's only a certain amount of money, this you're not going to be able to change your seat anymore. Because the cap goes up, this is your chance to change your seat, meaning change teams. And so
mm,
I think players are aware of that. Players understand where their leverage is, and the smart ones have put the pressure on their organizations that you know what I don't have the plan in the next, let's say they have like, and typically they have like 3 years left or less. And they're saying, listen, I don't plan on resigning. The time to move me is now. And I think
mm.
that's what you're seeing.
Yeah. It's like Bowen Byram. He has all the leverage. Hey, you just traded the fourth overall pick. I want $13 million.
There you go. You'll get it.
Yeah. Um, yeah, that is interesting. Before I let you go, and listen, Sergei Bobrovsky is out there too. I just feel like he's going to end up back in Florida. I mean, I don't know why he would leave. This is like ridiculous that he would even. He's made so much money. I know he sees some of these long-term contracts that other aging players on that roster have been given. Guys like Marchand and um, there's Ekblad got a big deal. So I get you want the big deal, but at the same time, you're in Florida. You have a great team. It's not like they're going to pay him nothing. And Jamal, I don't want to overstate it, but like he wins another cup there. I mean, maybe two. This guy will go down as one of the best goalies ever, to be honest with you.
Yeah. And I saw a report. maybe it was on social media of like a day in the life of what his preparation looks like, and it is I don't know how you don't root for this guy, how hard he works and trains and how he takes care of himself, so, um, yeah, I would be shocked if he doesn't go back there. I think that he probably have to. I'm sure Zito has another kind of avenue and kind of working another thing on the side, perhaps with the Blues to get Binnington or whatever those great GMs do because they have to have a backup plan if this doesn't work out. But I would agree with you. I think that the window for the Panthers is the next 4 to 5 years, even. So um,
Hmm.
I think he's still an unbelievable goaltender. I think it'd probably be really important for them to insulate him so he doesn't have to play 50 to 60 games. It'd be nice for him to play 45 to 50 max. And help get someone in there to kind of help him, and so he stays fresh for the playoffs.
Yeah, the problem is the Blues aren't just going to give Bennington away. I mean, he's a they first off, Florida needs one,
Yeah,
right? So you've got a little bit of power there. He's got an incredible resume and a iconic status here in St. Louis. I mean, so I just don't know if Florida has the pieces to make a trade like that. They're kind of running dry, Jamal, when it comes to who they're willing to move and what really the assets that they have available. They don't have picks, um, and they're not really deep prospect wise because they don't ever draft. So it's like that. But I 100% agree with you. It'd be a great spot for Bennington to go in there and try to win another one, and he'd be a perfect fit there. So we'll see how it plays out. Um, Big Walt goes into the Hall of Fame. Man, I mean, how many Hall of Famers have you played with?
oh geez, I don't know. Quite a few. Al,
Yeah.
Prongs, Walt, Pierre
Uh,
Turgeon, um, Joe Thornton,
Joe Thornton,
Joe McGinley.
McGinley, has he gone in?
McGinley's in there.
Yeah.
Um,
I didn't know if he went in yet. I'm just trying to think how long these guys have
is
even
Phil
been
Kessel in there?
out of the game.
Not yet.
No,
He
not
will
yet.
be. Um, who else? Patty Marlowe. Is he? He's not
Not
in
in
there.
yet. He's eligible this year, but he didn't go in. Is he a Hall of Famer?
I
Do you
think
think?
he's. Yeah, with all those games and the amount of goals. Yeah, he's in.
A lot of
He's in. It's
games.
gonna take him a little bit, like it did Walt, but I
Hmm.
think he gets in.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yep.
I feel like we're forgetting somebody that you didn't mention. Anyway, you didn't play with
Brett
Cujo, did
Hall.
you? And he's not in.
Cujo, I did. Yes.
Brett Hall. Okay, he's not in yet.
He'll
He'll
get
get
in.
into
Yeah,
it
that's
some.
a great point. If you look at his wins, it's unbelievable. And he made a point. We spent some time together over the last, since we've been retired, and he makes a great point to advocate for him to be in. Is that they didn't have they had ties back then. So if you look at his win total, you
Yeah.
you got to understand that what 50% at minimum of those ties could have been wins if there would have been the shootout and overtime and all that.
Yeah.
So he's got a lot
Yeah.
of ties too.
All right. So big walk going into the Hall of
Yes.
Fame.
Unbelievable. So happy for him. Obviously well deserved. 538 goals, I think it was. 50 goal seasons. He would have won. They didn't even have the Rocket Richard then. He would have won it, what, 2 or 3 times. Um, Consummate teammate, warrior, played the game the right way. Um, and you know what? I think what I love about what he's passed on to his boys is that the number one compliment that I'm sure makes Walt feel the best is that the way that his boys treat the training staff and the people around the rink that you don't really get to see, um, that's their reputation, and that's because of Walt, and that's the way he was. Um, just consummate teammate, played the game the right way, and you know, so fun to watch him dominate games, and when him and Pav were rolling, wow, they were dominant.
Yeah. Great person too, man. And just you're just happy, that he goes in. And it's great for the Blues to get another Hall of Famer too. So big shout out. We'll have plenty of time to talk about Walt as he goes in November. Enjoy the draft tonight. We didn't get too much into the draft. I told the people beforehand, just I know some people tune in on Saturday, and some people don't have a chance to even watch this prior to the draft. So I think we all anticipate Gavin McKenna going first overall. I ran into Otto Stenberg this morning, talked to he and his parents for a while. So they don't know, but like the idea is that Ivar is going to go to San Jose, so that would make sense. And we'll see what else happens throughout the day. It could be a crazy day, Jamal. We'll see how it all plays out. But who brought you to Hockey Sense this week and every single week here, live from Half Coast
Yeah, well,
Studios?
first we gotta talk about, my buddies from, spas and more. You think about local master spas. I know you've probably been in your hot tub with all this rain, fixing
I
your
miss it.
sore bones or whatever that's going on with you. I don't know why you feel so sore, but so they have locations in Sunset Hills, Missouri, and Overland Park in Kansas. Mike Leahy's the owner of Spas and More. Master Spas is an American hot tub and swim spa manufacturer located in Fort Wayne, Indiana. They're the largest hot tub and swim spa manufacturer in the U.S. Michael Phelps Chili Goat Tubs. Can't wait to get mine in a few weeks. Angie Hess, Mike's daughter, runs the show there at Sunset Hills. Spas and More offers high-quality hot tubs, swim spas, cold tubs, and infrared saunas for all of your health, wellness, and relaxation needs. Turn your backyard into the oasis of your dreams with a master spas from Spas and More. Spas and More located at 12957 Gravois Road in Sunset Hills, where we put the
Uh,
in spa.
in spa.
And obviously, my buddy at Dobbs, over 40 locations in the St. Louis area. They take care of you. Doesn't matter what you drive, a car, light truck, van, SUV, hybrid, or EV. And they don't just do tires. They'll come in, diagnose your vehicle. And the best part about them, well, there are two best parts. They'll make sure that you're not overpaying. They'll get you in the budget-friendly tire. They always have deals. Doesn't matter what time of year it is. And they'll make sure they diagnose your vehicle. And the best part, they'll get your car in, up, fixed, and out the same day. Go to Dobbs.com for more.
I love it. Jammer, thanks for coming in, man. I appreciate it. Great insight. I know the people love it as well. And we'll do it again next week and kind of have an idea where all these guys end up going. So I'm looking forward to it as
Yeah, with
always.
the Blues having 4 picks, do they move? Do they move off of that for it'll be interesting. I think there's gonna be some fun trades too. I can't wait to talk about all those.
Yeah. All right. Looking forward to it, man. Thanks as always. Have a
You
great
too. Take
weekend.
care.
See ya. Robbie Thomas in the house. Thanks for doing this, Robbie. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Andy.
How's your off season going?
It's gone good so far. Just finished up like right around June 1st, got back. So I've spent some time with the family, just hanging out, and thankfully the St. Louis weather hasn't gotten too hot.
So I'm at the draft right now. Give me a good draft story. What was your draft day like? I remember getting the scouting report from Matthew Kachuk right afterwards. He gave you a good one. He was actually spot on. I should send it to him right now and say, this is what you said about Robbie. It was very accurate. So what was your day like in 2017, right?
Yeah, it's 2017. A lot of it was just sitting around waiting. I had my whole family in Chicago. We went out for some deep dish pizza. We just kind of walked around the city, and then probably 2 hours before the draft, maybe 3 hours before, we were just sitting in the hotel, just anxiously waiting. And yeah, I had no idea where I was going to go. I think my agent knew, but wasn't telling me anything. So I was just sitting there waiting. And you have a couple teams that you think you have good interviews with, and when they kind of come up, you get excited. And obviously, St. Louis was one of them.
So Gavin McKenna, he's likely to go first overall. You have Ivar Stenberg, obviously Otto's brother, and the Blues have 4 first-round picks. So if you were to sit down with a kid who's going to hear his name called tonight and go in the first round, what's the advice Robert Thomas is giving him?
I would just say take your time. Like that's your moment. I know I was rushed to get up there and take our picture and kind of just stuck in the whirlwind there. I think my tie was like sideways in my photos. So just take your time, enjoy the moment. It's all about you in that moment, and that's all I really got.
All right, so you had a great second half once again, and I know you were dealing with the injury. Give the fans an idea of the level of discomfort you were in the first half of the season, and having that procedure done during the Olympics, how much that helped you and how good you felt down the stretch.
Yeah, I won't go kind of too much into it, but it wasn't fun. It was something where I got hurt the year before, and it healed up fine, but just the way it healed, quickly caused some problems. And that's kind of what ultimately led to the decision of getting that done in the middle of the season. You try and push through and wait till the end of the year, and you don't want to miss any games, but just got to a point where it's better off getting it done and resting up for the second half.
And so when you're watching Snuggerud, and Holloway's been around for a little bit longer, like you're watching these guys, do you sense that you would have success if you were put on a line with those two guys? Like when you're watching them, were you like, hey, this could work if I played with them? And whose idea was it to put you three together?
Yeah, that was Monty. Definitely there's so many guys on the team that just watching you, you're like, oh, that would be awesome. And I hadn't really got to play too much with Holloway. Obviously, him and Jordan and Shenner the year before were amazing together, and Snuggy coming in, just the way he got more and more comfortable as the year went on. And you never know how different combinations work, and it just clicked right away. Holly's obviously a ton of skill, speed. He's got a dog on the bone. He's physical. He's a great forechecker, and he creates a lot of turnovers. Snuggies, makes high end plays. Got a good stick. He shoots really well. So it's just one of those things that we just mesh really well together, and yeah, we're able to find some success.
All right, so you go to the World Championships, and you played some great hockey there too, Robbie. I know it was disappointing maybe not to finish it off. What led to you deciding to go, and are you glad you went?
Yeah, it's definitely been something I've wanted to do for a while. Just haven't been able to do it, and then just being healthy at the end of the year. So this was the first year I was, feeling really good. I was healthy, and was given a great opportunity to go over and play and experience it with my family, bring over my wife and daughter, and um, yeah, it was a no brainer for me to go over. It's really cool getting to play with other players, other coaches, kind of refreshes your mind on hockey, changes it up a little bit, and you learn a lot over there. So that's what I was really excited to do.
Was this the first time you played with Crosby?
Yeah, first time I got to play with him, so that was really cool. Just being able to watch him every day. Um, he's hockey royalty in Canada, so just to say I've been able to play with him, I got a cool picture of us playing together, and yeah, it's pretty awesome.
So what do you take away from playing with him? Like, how much are you picking his brain, talking hockey with him, whether it's at night, away from the rink, on the ice during practice? Because I know your hockey IQ is super high. You like to get into the intricacies of the game. And so were you able to do that with Sid and really get into some deep hockey conversation with him?
I wouldn't say too deep. I think mostly revolved around on the ice, whether it's in practice, asking him where he likes different things, how he sees it. Everyone sees the game so differently, yet the game is pretty simple. So it's pretty cool to get different perspectives. And yeah, I picked his brain a little. Me and Shifley were talking a lot. We played together most of the tournament, and we play pretty similar. So it was really cool to get to play with him. He's obviously got through the roof hockey IQ, and a lot of people call him a hockey nerd. So we got into some good conversations.
Yeah. It's amazing that he didn't find his way onto Canada's roster for the Olympics either. Like he's so good, and you guys had great chemistry together. Like, did you know that about him? I mean, he's been such a great player. You played against him so many times, Robbie. But did you get a better sense for how good he is once you play on a line and play with him?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, my first couple years at Gary Roberts, he was there and was just amazing to me. Yeah, he taught me a lot. He was someone I always asked questions to, and kind of followed along in the gym and on the ice. And then, he went his other way, and then get to play against them. We've always stayed in touch, and yeah, it was really nice to get to play with him finally.
Yeah, super nice guy too. What about Celebrini? Before we move on, I mean, he's a young kid, but do you still find yourself being like, damn, like I knew he was good, but then you see him play, you see him prepare, you're on the ice, you're in the dressing room with him. What's your takeaway from playing with him?
Yeah, no, he's amazing. I mean, I think there's so many things that people don't recognize or you don't even recognize playing against them, but then you get to watch him during games, and whether it's just the amount of turnovers he creates, his stick, he's just always around the puck. It's actually really impressive. And yeah, just couldn't be nicer of a kid. Like he's young. He's got a big role in everything, whether it's San Jose, Team Canada. and just the way he handles it, and but still is a lot of fun as a 20, 21 year old. So it's really cool.
All right, so you've been fortunate to play for some great captains. I mean, with Petro and then Ori and then obviously, Braden Shen the last couple of years. Like, is that something you've ever thought about? Like, do you want to be a captain? Like, do you lobby for it if they ask you? Are you, more than willing? Like, I feel like you just took a different mindset and different level of leadership down the stretch after Shen got traded, kind of put the team on your back a little bit. Was that by design? Am I wrong in my assessment, or how'd you feel from a leadership standpoint once Shenner was traded?
Yeah, you know, people had to step up. He's obviously a huge hole in our leadership. He was a great voice, very well respected in the room, and a guy on the ice that had his teammates back. And I don't think one guy could fill that role. I think a lot of guys stepped up and kind of did it by committee. Jakey, Colton, Broby obviously joined that group, and a lot of other guys like Fowler, Holloway, Binner. There's so many guys that really stepped up when he got traded, and I think that approach is what makes teams strong. Is it can't be one guy, it can't be a group of four, it's got to be the whole team. And I think that's what really led to a lot of our success down the road, and trying to build something. We've kind of taken steps forward, steps back, and we kind of stuck in that mud for the last couple of years. And doing it as a team, I think we'll be able to gain some momentum here.
Did you guys overachieve 2 years ago or underachieve last season?
I would say underachieved last season for sure. We're I think we ended the year as one of the youngest teams in the league. Yet we're still able to make a big run. Like, we got the talent, we got the goaltending, we got, so many the coaching, we got so many good things going in St. Louis, and we just weren't able to put it together last year. And um, there's no reason we can't compete. Like we feel like we're a really good team, and although we might be young, we feel like we can be really strong in the Central Division.
All right, so you always wear your emotions on your sleeve. You could tell when you're frustrated, when things aren't going the team's way, or maybe even your way earlier in your career. How much have you learned throughout the course of your career to kind of channel some of that energy and just kind of stay a little more even keel, like we saw from you really down the stretch this past season after the Olympic break?
Yeah, people aren't perfect. I'm not perfect. That's something I've obviously really tried to work on the last couple of years. And yeah, you have good moments and bad moments, and it's something I'll continue working on. Yeah, I'm an emotional guy. I love to win. I love for my teammates to have success, and um, when it's not going either way, it's frustrating. I feel like I'm letting my teammates down, and that's a lot of the kind of frustration I deal with, and I ultimately show. So, um, yeah, no, it's definitely something as a leader you wanna change, but you got to be who you are, and I think that's really important too.
You can't lose it either, right? I mean, you're an elite player. That helps you. That probably drives you a little bit, right? Just that level of enthusiasm and intensity that you bring.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are their hardest critics. They're the hardest on themselves. They feel like they're letting their teammates down when they're not playing well, and yeah, that's something that motivates you or pushes you to, whether you're in a little slump, to break out of it, or um, to keep on getting better every year. So I think that's where um, that stubbornness is sometimes good.
How difficult was it to hear your name in trade rumors, Robbie? And were you able to put like what allowed you to kind of put that aside? Maybe dealing with a little bit of the shock of hearing it and still finding a way to like elevate your game at the level that you did.
Yeah, I mean it's tough. There's no sugarcoating it to hear it. But you know what? Throughout the whole process, Doug and Steiner were great. They gave me a heads up beforehand. They kind of talked me through what was going on when times were needed, and um, yeah, after the deadline, we kind of just put it beside, and talked a lot, couple times throughout the rest of the year, and then after the season. And um, so, I mean, it's part of it. We all knew what situation we were in. It sucked for everyone. Obviously, some guys were traded, some guys weren't, and um, I guess we gotta just not put ourselves in that situation again.
So it was put to rest a few weeks ago. So when you hear that, does that allow you to relax and just go enjoy the summer?
Yeah, I think for sure. My motivation and desire to be here had never changed. I love St. Louis. I love playing here. I wanted to be a part of building something here, and yeah, that's kind of how our conversations went after the year, and it was nice to kind of hear it quiet down.
All right, so when you see players turning down $15 million a year and the money some of these guys are making around the league right now, I mean, as another player who signed several years ago, you still have several years left on your deal. But what's the chatter like amongst players around the league, just seeing how much some of these guys are getting paid?
Yeah, um, yeah. I mean, like it's great. It's great for the players. We obviously during COVID, like league took a big hit and everything kind of got backlogged a couple years and the game's at a really good place if guys are starting to make that kind of money and the cap's rising and all that stuff. So as a player, you're excited for the people you play against or play with who are signing big deals and yeah, it's great to show kind of where the league's at now, how much we've grown and where it's gonna go.
All right, so you and Jordan Cairo, you guys were kind of attached to the hip, two of the big faces of the team, younger players now evolved into bona fide stars in the NHL. So he gets traded. You guys signed matching contracts a few years back. What's it like seeing a guy like Cairo get moved, who you've been around for a long time? I mean, what do you say to him when you talk to him?
Yeah, it's really tough. Obviously, we came into the league pretty much together. We played our last year in juniors together, and really grew up together. So it was hard. You obviously hate to see someone go with that kind of talent, that level of goal scoring and playmaking and all the things you do on the ice. It sucks, but at the same time, kind of where we're at and the direction we're going and things needed to change and people need fresh starts and um, so I'm happy for him. I got to play with or play for Carberry at the Worlds and yeah, just a great hockey mind and I think Jordan will really like him. So that's kind of where what we talked about is a lot of good memories. Happy for him to get a fresh start and yeah, I think he's in a good situation.
All right, so Connor McMichael, he comes to St. Louis. You guys were traded for one another years ago. It was like a Eric Lindros trade. I mean, it was like a million picks. Yeah, that's how badly Hamilton wanted Robert Thomas. They gave him their first round pick in Connor McMichael and like a boatload of draft picks. And you ended up going on to win. It worked out for both of you because he had great success in London, and he was telling us the other day. I did an interview with him on the Blues Social, and you guys lived in each other's billet homes and whatnot. So you have that connection. How well do you know him? And what should Blues fans know about him? How do you see him fitting in with the group?
Yeah. Yeah, I went to his billets in Hamilton. He came to mine in London. So I've gotten to know him over the last bunch of years. He trains at Gary's as well. So got to see him there. But just a great guy. Yeah, really good player. He's got sneaky speed and he's just got a knack for scoring goals. Like he gets in those greasy areas. He's got the patience to go around the goalie, put it up top. Like he's a guy that can really put the puck in the net and make some high end plays. And yeah, I'm really excited to see him, kind of expand his role and get a bigger opportunity. And let's see what he can do with it. I'm really excited about it.
All right, a few more things for you. So Alexander Steen about to take over as general manager. They're going to make that official announcement coming up on the 30th, even though it's already been made official. But that transition is about to take place next week. What have your conversations been like with Steiner, and what's it like having a general manager that was a teammate? I mean, you guys won together. You guys have been through an awful lot together as players, and now to have him be a GM, a guy who used to be one of your peers in the dressing room, what's that like?
Yeah, I think, it obviously takes a bit of a learning curve for both of us. Even Perry, Binner, like it's different having a guy you used to play with to now being your boss. And it's a different relationship. So it takes a little bit of time to kind of figure that out. But The great part is we know who he is, we know what he's all about, and that part's really exciting. We know how much he meant in the locker room as a leader to the Blues, and his kind of philosophy on things, and that stuff's really exciting to be a part. You obviously learned from Doug the last couple of years, and um, Doug's one of the best, so that part's really exciting, and yeah, we're excited to get started. And there obviously is going to be a couple changes, but they're welcome changes, and we're excited to get going.
What's your summer training routine like? Are you like Connor McDavid, like stick handling through cones and jumping over like sticks and like just are you on the ice daily? Do you stay off the ice for a long period of time? Like what are you doing right now?
Yeah, it's a little different with the Worlds this year. I'm still trying to figure it out, but I usually take a month off after the season. It's good for the body, and then slowly start getting back on. Don't really do any stuff off the ice like stick handling through cones, but I get on the ice, at least 3 times a week. Whether it's OT stuff or just stuff that I've learned over the years that I'd like to work on, one timers, different stuff like that. And then kind of as you get into August, you start middle half of August, you start playing some mini games, battle stuff, and whether it's 3-on-3 or kind of design drill games, get your feet moving and get you back in, an attacking mindset. So do that, and then just working out Monday to Saturday, and whether it's track workouts in the gym, a lot of different stuff.
So how do you balance the family life? Now you got the kids now. Are you spending most of the time in St. Louis? Are you up in Toronto? Where are you spending most of your off season?
Yeah, still figuring that out. Probably half and half this summer. We'll spend some more time in St. Louis, and yeah, I think for me it doesn't really change too much during the season, other than obviously games and travel. But you spend most of the morning, working out, and whether that's skating, off ice, all that kind of stuff, and then when the kid's up from her nap, then it's my time to shine. So she's ready to rock.
I love it. I love it. How was Switzerland, by the way? Like
It's
you
really
tell
cool.
you tell Pew Sitter now like that he's from like the most amazing place. It's nice, huh?
Yeah, it's awesome. We were in Bern mostly, and that place is really cool. It's kind of got that old European style cobble streets, streetcars everywhere, and then they got this amazing river that just goes right through the city that people just jump in to go to work. It's crazy, but yeah, it's really nice.
All right, so everyone knows you lived with the Kachucks. Big Walt goes into the Hall of Fame, or he just got announced that he'll be inducted in November. What was your reaction to that? And how excited are you for he and the rest of the family that he's going in?
Yeah, so pumped. Obviously something he's deserved for a while. He's been waiting for a while and hoping that it eventually will come true, and couldn't have happened at a better time. After they both won gold at the Olympics, and yeah, it's been a big couple years for the Kachuk family, and yeah, I was so excited. Was with them all weekend, and then he's getting nervous, he's hoping, and just to finally hear it is so awesome.
Yeah, it was great, man. Do they ever have a bad day, the Kachucks? So anything ever go wrong? I mean, everything works out for the Kachucks, man. I love it, you know?
Yeah, I'm sure every day is not perfect, but they've been on a good run.
They've been on a really good run. Brady gets traded. What do you make out of all this movement? I mean, you got to hear about players wanting out. Like, are we seeing a changing of the guard a little bit in terms of, you know, how players view their experience and their careers? Like, it's different, man. I mean, you hear about it with Borensky now too, potentially moving forward. Like, it's interesting. I'm just curious your perspective.
Yeah, I think everyone has their own situations, everyone has their own things they want to do in their career, and um yeah, I think like there's definitely some big change. I think the last couple of years it's been kind of building up to there's going to be start to be more changes in the league, whether that's contracts are coming down in years, you know, push back and forth about trade clauses coming out. Like there's been a lot of stuff talked about, that I've learned through the PA, and it seems like there is going to be big change in the league coming up. So I think that might be part of it, but yeah, everyone's got their own kind of perspectives and what they want to do in their career, and I think having the Olympics back in, ignited some people maybe.
Yeah, there's no doubt for sure. All right, last thing for you, just with the Blues having 4 first-round picks, free agency next week, like, how eager are you to see what happens between now and the beginning of training camp and what this team could look like?
Yeah, obviously 4 first round picks is crazy. I don't remember the last time a team's had 4 first round picks, and um, yeah, there's a lot of stuff up in the air, and excited to see what Doug and Steiner do, and over the rest of the summer, because it's an exciting time. We got a lot of young talent coming that we're all excited to see as players, and yeah, it should be a lot of fun to follow along.
Yep. I'm looking forward to the season too. You guys have a good team, man. Especially with your goaltending and the evolution of Mayu and some of these guys too. I'm looking forward to seeing them get another year under their belt, and maybe you guys could surprise some people, Robbie. I feel like people are maybe counting you guys out a little bit heading into the season.
Yeah, we feel the same. We kind of got nothing to lose at this point, and we got a young team that's hungry, and we got a lot of skill, and we're really excited to get going here.
All right, man. Listen, enjoy your time. I know you're going to see some World Cup soccer and whatnot, so you got a lot of exciting things happening for you. Enjoy the rest of the summer. I wanted to catch up with you for a while now, so I'm glad we were able to do it. Thanks for doing this, man. We'll be in touch here soon.
Yeah, no worries. Good chatting.
Always great to catch up with Robbie Thomas. I'm glad to get him on the show. All right, this is Hockey Sense brought to you by First Community. We'll wrap things up when we come back. It's draft day in the National Hockey League. I'm Andy Strickland. Thanks for hanging out. All right, so we appreciate Jamal Mayers for joining us, Robert Thomas for joining us. And it should be a great day. Looking forward to it and hope you enjoy the draft and everything that comes with it. And we'll have plenty of stuff to talk about next week. The Blues are going to introduce Alexander Steen as their general manager this week. So he'll get things started, and it's a new era of St. Louis Blues hockey, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So looking forward to it. First Community brings us Hockey Sense each and every week. Sign your son or daughter up for that Little Blues program. Get the information online, firstcommunity.com. They've got all different types of bank accounts for you to do with your money and save money and live life to the fullest over at First Community. But sign your son or daughter up for Little Blues. It's the best program going to introduce your son or daughter into the game of ice hockey. Blue Note Roofing, 314-920-5713. Call David Novak today. Talk some pucks and get a new roof at the same time. Gutters, soffit, fascia, whatever it is, hail damage, wind damage, storm damage, whatever you're dealing with. Give him a shout and call him today. St. Louis Lawn Care. You got to love it. Top rated, reliable lawn care in St. Louis. You got to get St. Louis Lawn Care. And they do it all. Lawn mowing, which they do to my yard. They mow my grass each and every week. It looks absolutely incredible, like Petco Park in San Diego. Your lawn needs to be mowed all year long, and having a strong lawn maintenance plan in place makes it easier to manage. They have a fertilizer program, sod installation if you're looking for some new grass, snow removal in the winter. They do mulch, aeration, overseeding, leaf removal. And I love the mosquito and the bug control too. So they'll get all the bugs out of there, which you got to love. Right there over at St. Louis Lawn Care. You can check them out online, stlawncare.com. Dirt Cheap Fun Fun, your one-stop party shop. Download the app, find the location nearest you. Do that today. Lordo's Diamonds, lordosdiamonds.com. Frontenac Detailing. Get your car detailed so it looks beautiful and shiny. And take care of all of that. And, of course, Mako in Kirkwood. We love all our sponsors. Aiden here in studio helping us out. And everybody else that helped us out on today's show. We appreciate Jamal Mayers for joining us. Robert Thomas, as always. Hope you enjoyed the draft. It's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of excitement surrounding the draft this weekend, then obviously moving into free agency next week. You got the Blues prospect camp after that too. So a lot of fun stuff happening. I'm Andy Strickland, signing off from Buffalo, reminding you to keep your head up and your stick on the ice. And we'll do it again very, very soon. Have a great weekend, everybody.